And from time to time, we might need to use calculus to find the values of a and b, that is, the coefficients of x squared and x. So let's have a look.
Alright, so this question says the curve with equation y equals ax squared plus bx plus 7 has a stationary point at negative 2, 10. Find the values of a and b. So before we do anything, I recommend that we highlight any key information and rewrite this in words that we can understand. So we have an equation of a curve. We've got y equals ax squared plus bx plus 7. So let's write that out. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus 7. The next part says stationary point at negative 2, 10. Stationary point at negative 2, 10. What that means is f dashed of x is equal to 0 at negative 2, 10. That is, it has a gradient of 0 at negative 2, 10. And it wants us to find a and b. Now, one more thing that we can actually get out of this, whether it be helpful or not, is that we know when we substitute x equals 0, we're going to get a y coordinate of 7 because the a's and the b's are going to go away. So therefore, the equation has a y-intercept at 0, 7. Okay, now I'll go through and do the working out, and I'll explain it to you after. Okay, so I've used the first part of information here where it says the stationary point is at negative 2, 10. So I've gone through, I've got my equation here, y equals ax squared plus bx plus 7, and I've differentiated it, bringing 2 out the front, so you get 2ax, drop the power by 1, just gives you 1 plus b. Right, now because I know the stationary point is at negative 2, 10, I therefore know that when x equals negative 2, dy on dx is equal to 0. Right, so I've written out my differentiated formula again, dy on dx is equal to 2ax plus b, substituting in dy on dx equals 0 to get here, and x equals negative 2, because that's where it occurs. So you end up getting 0 is equal to 2a bracket negative 2 plus b. You end up getting 0 is equal to negative 4a plus b, and I rearrange moving the 4a over the other side, you get 4a equals b. This here is equation 1. Now because we have two unknowns, we need to use simultaneous equations, and we'll need to find another equation that we can use. Now to do this, I know that the stationary point occurs at negative 2, 10. Therefore the function also goes through that coordinates of negative 2, 10. So here's my working out. Okay, so I know that f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus 7 also goes through the point negative 2, 10. Therefore I've substituted in the y coordinate of 10 and the x coordinate negative 2 because the function goes through there. So y is 10 and x is equal to negative 2. Substituting that in. Simplifying gets you 10 equals 4a minus 2b plus 7 because negative 2 squared is 4. Simplifying once again by moving the 7 over the other side, so you get 3 is equal to 4a minus 2b. This here we'll call equation 2. Now that I've got two equations and I've got two unknowns, I can use simultaneous equations to solve for them. Let's just write out those equations again. So 4a equals b is equation 1, and 3 equals 4a minus 2b is equation 2. Now because we've got a pronumeral on its own, being b here, we can actually use the substitution method to find out the values of a and b. So we'll put 1 into 2. So substituting equation 1 into equation 2, I know that 3 is equal to 4a minus 2b, and I know that from up here b is equal to 4a, so instead of writing b I can write 4a here. Right, so I get 3 is equal to 4a minus 2 times 4a, therefore you get 3 is equal to 4a minus 8a, simplify gets you negative 4a, and then when you get a on its own by dividing by negative 4, you get a is equal to negative 3/4. Now that I know that a equals negative 3/4, I can now go and substitute that back into equation 1. Alright, so because I found that a was equal to negative 3/4, I was able to then go and substitute it back into the b formula. So 4a equals b. Instead of writing a, I've written negative 3/4. So 4 times negative 3/4 is negative 3 times 4 on 4. Of course, the 4's will cancel out, leaving us with b equals negative 3. So therefore, if y equals ax squared plus bx plus 7, then y is equal to negative 3 on 4x squared minus 3x plus 7.
Hey man, wait, didn't you say you were looking for A and B before?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, I just found A. I'm pretty sure I saw B in the other.
Thanks, Max. Good on you, appreciate it. I can now sleep better tonight. Cheers. Yeah, thanks Jerry for helping us find A and B there. That's not quite what I meant when I said we were looking for them. Anyway, thank you very much guys for tuning into our lesson on sketching graphs containing stationary points. Make sure you stay tuned for the very next lesson because it's all about solving maximum and minimum problems. Okay, like always, make sure you say hi to your maths teacher for me. Morsey out.